So, welcome everyone to our information session for Thursday, December 8th, 2016. I am Anne-Marie Edgar, the Executive Director of Make a Change Canada. So again, welcome to our session. We look forward to sharing a lot of information today about our organization and programs, and as well we look forward to hearing from you as to what your thoughts are, if you have any questions. We're just really here to help broaden your understanding of Make a Change Canada and address your questions. In the room with me today is Mary Alton. Mary is our employment case manager at Make a Change Canada, and she actually lives in Moncton, New Brunswick. Mary's been with our organization now for about 9 years, and she's a wonderful team member, and she'll help as well with answering some questions today. Also in the room is Kelsey Berg, and Kelsey's here also in Nelson, British Columbia, where I live. And again, Kelsey can help to address your questions, and she's also available to take any of your questions by email and telephone that may arise after today's session. Also in the room is Kayleen Selick. Kayleen is our lifeguard and recording specialist. She's recording today's session. Kayleen lives in Surrey, British Columbia, and she's actually a former graduate of the IBDE Web Essentials program. So it's such a pleasure to have Kayleen on staff. And as well, we have doing our ASL interpretation, Darcy Kerr, who's in Vancouver, BC. So to begin, what are we going to talk about here today? Well, first off, I'm going to review some information about our organization and give you a better idea of what makes us really breathe here at Make a Change Canada. We'll take a look at who our clients are, our programs and services. I always like to review some labor and market information because it's all about career development here at Make a Change Canada. Ways to become involved. Since we are a charity, there are other ways to become involved in our organization. Some important dates coming up, and then finally, how to contact us, best ways to contact us. Throughout today's session, please feel free to make any comments in the chat area, ask any questions that you may wish, and also you can raise your hand if you need any assistance by clicking on the raise a hand button. We'll mention I'm having a bit of an issue with the chat area not automatically scrolling down, so I may need Mary and Kelsey to help me out to alert me if there are any questions coming up in the chat area. So thank you. We'll have to submit a ticket to the Go to Training people and figure out what's up with that. Okay, so to begin, a little bit about Make a Change Canada. So in terms of our history, we were formerly called the Canadian Society for Social Development, and we came up with a new name and officially were able to change the name early in 2015. I think we've really grown into this new role. We love the new name, Make a Change Canada. It really speaks for itself, I think, and you can imagine why we're happy with the name change. In a nutshell, though, really what describes our organization is virtual learning and real world. All our programs are online. It's all about getting better educated and developing a viable career, let's hope. But at the same time, we work to keep our materials really relevant, so really in terms of that real world. Also, another phrase that we like to use is helping Canadians from coast to coast realize their full potential. The organization was founded in 2004 as a federal corporation, and we gained charitable status in 2005. Our programs got their start through the Community Futures organization, and Community Futures, you probably have something in your community that's similar. In the West, it's called Community Futures, all the way through to Manitoba. And then once you get into Ontario, they're called Community Business Development Organizations. So that's really where we got our start, was from actually the Community Futures organization here in Nelson, British Columbia. We are a virtual organization with employees in BC, Alberta, Ontario, and New Brunswick. And to date, we have served over 2,000 clients. Another way to get an idea of what we're all about is just to take a look at our guiding principles, which are all published on the Make a Change Canada website. But our mission in particular is that Make a Change Canada develops and delivers business startup and web technology training to people facing challenges to employment. This training is delivered from our program websites and features a self-paced and supportive learning environment. Through our online curriculum and our skilled and caring service teams, Make a Change Canada is empowering others to realize their full potential. Just trying to get my little mouse back where it belongs here. Okay, my apologies. This little visual displays what our programs are, just visually, which I think is a good thing, along with our logos. So we have on the one side the IBDE Web Essentials and Web Advanced program, which is our web development program, and then we also have Business Abilities. But really, at the center of it all, and we really try and keep mindful of this, is the heart. It's the heart of the organization. It's the people who work in the organization. I think we're really centered on individuals themselves and always working to listen, to really understand what's important to people in our programs, to individuals, and working towards helping people achieve what they're setting out to achieve. So again, we have a real focus on helping people because I guess going back to our roots, we're a charity and it really grows on you. That's what we want to do. We love what we do. And here's a glimpse of our staff. This is actually from our last Christmas party last winter. Now we have to hold our Christmas party online because we're a virtual organization. But there's some faces, and there's Mary, who's also in the room here today. And there were 4 of us located in Nelson, so we all logged in from one location. And there's Kayleen, who's also in the room and who's in Surrey. So that's just a bit of our smiling faces day to day. We're really happy to work together as a team and support people throughout Canada in achieving their career goals. Turning to who are our clients then and what brings them to Make a Change Canada. Our clients are people who really want what we offer in terms of being able to put forth some of the difficulties that they're facing and where they want to move ahead in their lives. And it's really the gamut of our population. We have younger people, we have older people, we have people who are educated, they may have a university education already, or we have people who are undereducated and really need to get some sort of education following high school happening. We have people who are living with a disability. We have people who are not living with a disability. There are clients who may have children with a disability. That's getting fairly common as well. We have entrepreneurs coming our way and job seekers as well. There's single parents. There's actually older workers who are grandparents who have custody of their grandchildren. There's so many complex living situations, and really we're serving people that are a cross-section of the Canadian population, but in general, people who maybe are facing challenges to employment is really what categorizes people generally. And where do our clients live? We have clients from one corner of the country to the other. We have clients into the territories, out into Haida Gwaii, which is the Queen Charlotte Islands. right through to the tip of Newfoundland. So this isn't actually a snapshot at this particular moment in time. It's from a couple years ago. But if we were to take a snapshot today, it would be very, very similar. And as you can see that our clients are generally centered in the larger population bases of Canada, which are Ontario and British Columbia. But we always have a lot of clients from the Prairie provinces and as well from the Maritimes. I like this slide. It gives you a visual representation of some clients who have been in our programs, and just like I say, it exemplifies the cross-section of our clientele. Really, if I could think about what describes our clientele in a nutshell, it's that our clients are talented, determined, and savvy, but quite often they're just stuck. So it may be that somebody's been out of the workforce for a number of years to raise their children. It could be that they've reached a certain age and they are no longer able to attract the attention of an employer and just need to up the ante. So really, I hope that helps you to give you an idea just how diverse the clientele is. This is an actual client, Colin, who's been in our programs, and actually we work with Colin to this day. So Colin, his story is that he became a wheelchair user. He became a paraplegic at an early age. I think he told me either 15 or 16 years old. It was really a tragedy. And he is a very motivated individual. Colin went out and he got a volunteering job in the community working in a computer lab. Always has had a technical interest and background. He worked his way up in the organization and became supervisor of the training lab. And he really enjoyed his job. But the thing was that he was having to travel on transit about an hour and a half each day, and it was actually physically becoming painful for him to make that commute. And it was actually starting to affect his health. So he needed to look at some alternatives. And I think he heard about IBDE through a TV ad, because we ran TV ads back during that time period. Anyway, he discovered our organization, and today he's running a successful web programming business. He really focuses in on the PHP programming and building dynamic websites. And Colin as well works with us one-to-one with our students as a tutor. So it's been such a great pleasure, and to have Colin being associated with our organization. He's just a great colleague. So I think I'll say that I'll read the last part of his testimonial. It says, since taking the IBDE course, I have become more proficient and confident in developing websites. I have developed numerous websites since my graduation, and even my clients are impressed with my work. If it weren't for the IBDE course, I don't know what I would be doing as a career. The IBDE course and instructors have given me knowledge, confidence, which have shaped my career as a successful freelance website developer. So I think that's a really wonderful portrayal of one of the clients who has gone through our programs, but everyone's so different, and there's so many different situations and clients coming our way. So Web Essentials Web Advanced is an online college-accredited program in web technologies and design. It's open to anyone meeting eligibility requirements. And as part of the intake, there is a 30-minute interview and a basic computer skills assessment that must be completed. The start dates, I see, haven't quite updated that, but our next intake is October 16th, 2017. And this spring, a lot of our students will be moving into the Web Advanced program, which starts on May 29th, 2017. There's two separate programs under IBDE. A little bit more about the programs, and you can see again, here's Mary and Kelsey on screen. This was a session that we were running during the orientation a couple of years ago now. So the skills gained are website layout and design techniques, Adobe Photoshop, HTML5 and CSS3 coding, JavaScript, custom templates, e-commerce and designing for mobile, web marketing, PHP, MySQL, web programming, WordPress, and then content management systems, or CMS. The practicum component involves building a custom designed website for a business or organization in the community or for the students themselves. And there is a fee attached to the programs. The Web Essentials program is $3,995, as well as a software fee, which is generally market-based depending on the cost of the software at that point in time. And as well, each Web Advanced course is $495. And there's 4 courses in the Web Advanced program. I really like to focus in, and I find it really interesting myself, the career opportunities that come out of the IBDE program. And I can just sort of back up a bit, but the program, all the students used to go into the program thinking and endeavoring to be a web developer or a web designer, or there were some that were strictly developing a website for their own business, but they weren't really thinking about getting a career in administration or marketing as they are now. It was mainly focused on the web development end of things, and sure enough, that's still happening. Our graduates can become employed, but generally it's going to be at a junior developer level. That's because the learning really never ends in the web development field, and people really need to get the experience before they can become sort of a senior developer. So that's still happening. There are people who want to become a web developer, and they are finding employment. We still have a lot of students who are developing websites for their own business, and that is really great because then as a business owner, they are not needing to rely on programmers and other web developers waiting around, paying high fees to maintain their website. When something's broken, they can fix it. And plus, they're just really understanding their website infrastructure. And also how to communicate with their clients, how to do social media, how to optimize their website. So that's definitely a really, really viable career pursuit to tie in with IBDE. We've had some really interesting businesses developed through the years. We have had one fellow last year who developed a website for a property management business. We've had clients who develop businesses to sell retail goods such as dog outfits, dressy dog outfits, very stylish. We have a client selling fairy gardens. A number of years ago, one was selling mustache wax from his website. We have a lot of also artists coming on and then developing that storefront for themselves, that public presentation through their website and tying in some e-commerce to sell their work. It's a really huge gamut, and there's some wonderful websites being built in the program. What we didn't begin to discover until about 3 or 4, maybe 5 years ago was that graduates are actually also getting really good jobs in administration as a result of taking this program, and as well in the marketing field. And what this has to do with is that when they come up against other competitors, say for a administrative position, yes, the competitor in the labor market may have a secretarial degree, but let's say we have a graduate that's had a really great work background working as an executive assistant or administrative assistant, working in finance, something customer service oriented, and they come in with this certificate in web technologies and design, and they can walk into a job interview, let's say for a receptionist, for a resource room coordinator, and they can say, not only can I do that work, but I can design, visuals, I can do your HTML email, I can write your blog, I can update your website. So that can set them ahead of other competitors in the labor market. And we have graduates getting jobs in nonprofits, in real estate offices, things like that, career offices, such as in Work BC, and it really just goes on and on. School districts, so that's a really great benefit of the program for somebody sort of mid-career. That can be a really nice alternative, or someone who is in the youth category needing to be more competitive in the labor market. In the marketing career stream, what we see here is generally somebody who's already coming into IBDE with a work background working in the marketing field, and that may be, let's say, as an event coordinator, doing traditional marketing, or even bringing together these sort of community think tank events and so on. So more working as a coordinator in past. But the thing is without the technology skills nowadays, it can be a really tough industry to work in, because what happens is customers are asking the contractor, the consultant, to develop materials to go along with the event that they're arranging. And if you kind of can't do it all, if you can't put together the visual package, the promotional package with the event stuff itself, then you're not going to be able to probably win the jobs that you need to make a living. So this is a really great combination as well that we're seeing. And we've got one graduate out of British Columbia who can actually turn work away now. She works in this area. She does social media for nonprofits. She's more coordinator of nonprofits in that sense. And then we have another client actually around the area where I live who is overloaded with work opportunities. She said to me one day in a conversation that I had with her, she says, "Anne-Marie, there's so much work out there." And then she kind of got quiet. This was on the telephone. And she said, "And it's only going to get busier." So we're sort of on the cusp of having too much work available and not enough people qualified to complete the work. So I hope that gives you a really good idea of the relevance of the IBDE program, and really the fact that it's accredited and offers a certificate is a really great opportunity for people who say can't take a 2-year program, can't afford a 2-year program, and maybe wouldn't get accepted through a stringent intake process. So that's the idea with our program. Here's one of our graduates from both the IBDE Web Essentials and Web Advanced program. And just like Colin, who I mentioned, I'm still in touch with Cameron. I'll read you his testimonial, which actually came through as an email to us all one day. "Hey all, I've had a really good week. Here is some good news. After notifying a job coordinator of my completion of IBDE's program, I received a job posting via email Tuesday. I contacted the company Wednesday and landed an informal interview on the same day. I had a 15-minute meeting with the head of the company in the afternoon and started 8 a.m. the next day for a work trial." So he gets a little bit into what he did on his first day and couple first days of work. And then he said, I found out I will be able to officially start on Monday, November 4th. Looks like finishing school in a highly popular field was a great choice. He got into a bit of detail about a project he'd worked on, and then he says, "I want to thank you all for your guidance and support throughout the past year. Completing a college program after failing to finish my university education was a great accomplishment for me. You have all been a really big help. Have a good one. Thanks, Cameron." Now, Cameron always signs every piece of correspondence that he sends as "have a good one," which I just get a kick out of, so I thought I'd mention that. But I've had some recent contact with Cam as well, just over the past week. And Cam has a blog called cam.majorminor.ca, and he writes all about bipolar disorder. I do recommend, if you have an interest in mental health issues, if you'd like to understand a little bit more, he does a really great job about informing on the topic of bipolar disorder, and I do recommend the blog, actually. He's just reactivated his blog and is going to be posting some new articles there as well. He's got some good news that he's moved into a new job position, and he's also continuing to do some development in terms of getting some support in his career. So it's really great news to see Cam charging ahead again. I would like to, at this point, turn things over to everyone else in the room. I've done a lot of talking. I'm wondering if can you identify with the stories I've shared so far? Maybe share your career goals with us. What are you hoping to achieve? Also, do you have any questions or comments at this point in time? So feel free. That's what we're here for, is just to exchange information. And I'm wondering if there's any questions at all, any comments that you may have. I'm just checking the chat area. There's nothing there yet, but do feel free to type in any questions you have or speak into your microphone, whatever works. So I wonder if at this point, since I've just spoken about the IBDE program, if I might call on Kelsey Bergadal. Kelsey, do you have any thoughts that you might add to what I've said? Have I covered things, or were there any insights you might have gained just from what I've had to say? Anything
Sure,
to add?
yeah. So I work as the service coordinator for the IBDE program, which means that essentially I go through the application process with each applicant where they're completing the basic computer skills assessment and then the telephone interview. And then I work closely with the students throughout the year, monitoring student progress, sort of, answering any questions or concerns that come up. I think you covered it quite well, Anne-Marie. I think the really nice thing about the IBDE program, and it's been wonderful for myself, is the relationships that you're able to build, for myself with students, students building relationships with each other. Sometimes, online programs, you can think of being isolated in, your home, on your computer, working through material by yourself. But I think at IBDE, we really try to make it a more interactive program. So we've got lots of connections building. This year, we've got students that are really active on the student forums. They're, networking with each other, working together on certain things. And I think that's really nice. As well, for me, I'm able to learn so much about everyone's situation coming into the program, and just, watching certain students that may have come in with a little bit less confidence about their computer skills and starting to gain this knowledge. And I see the reflection in the rest of their life, just sort of gaining more confidence about, maybe even speaking up in class during the live classroom sessions, or, being more confident going into a job interview, things like that. So it's been really nice for me to be able to see a lot of students moving through this program. And we do have 3 of our current students in the room. I don't know if you guys had anything to share about your experience so far in the IBDE program.
Wow, Kelsey, couldn't have said that better myself. It's nice to hear about your experience and just what you've picked up on, because I was a little bit more prescriptive, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's nice to hear that human side of things.
For sure.
Yeah, great. Well, you're a wonderful coordinator and so competent, and I can assure everyone that she's just amazing to work with. So, okay, well, I'm not seeing any questions come in, so let's move along then, I think, to the next part of the presentation.
Anne-Marie, sorry, can I just interrupt for 2 seconds? I think Connie had unmuted her mic, so I'm not sure if she maybe just wanted to comment about IBDE.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Thank you very much. Connie, were you hoping to contribute a little bit or ask a question? Okay, maybe not. Maybe you are, Connie, but we can't hear you. So if that's the case, I apologize, but there's always a chat area and it's never too late. It's not like we're shutting things down about IBDE just because I'm going to talk about our other program now. So
Hello,
Connie typed. Okay, let me check that out. Thank you, Connie. Oh, you can't hear anything. You couldn't hear anything. Okay, we just wondered if you had something to contribute. And Brian is wondering, are you out shoveling the walk? So, okay, I think that's pretty good then. Okay, so just to finish up then, just a final look at IBDE. What really explains it here is that with flexible, supportive online programming, the vast majority of students succeed. And that's the really great thing, is that it's not like it's a really unachievable goal getting into the program. We have a high degree of success. This past year, we had actually 100%. Every single Web Advanced student graduated from the Web Advanced program, completed all courses that they started successfully. That was a first for the advanced program. It's usually in the high 90s, in the 90% range success. In the Web Essentials program, it's around the 80% level. So this really speaks to the determination, the skills that clients are bringing to the program to begin with, and how dedicated students in the program are. And what's really special is because it's a college program, there's a graduation ceremonies each year, and these are some photos from some of the graduation ceremonies I've attended, and I just love getting out and meeting with the graduates and their families and celebrating the day. So there's a real wonderful ending for a lot of people taking the Web Essentials and Web Advanced programs. Marianne has typed something. I'm just wondering, Mary, are you able to help me out with that?
Connie just made a note in here, Anne-Marie, that just said that she can't seem to get her mic working. So Connie, as Anne-Marie mentioned, just feel free to type in a message there. And then Marianne was saying that the stories are great, and I want to learn more about starting a business. So we're going to be getting to that shortly.
Okay, thanks, Marianne. So in 2016, I was able to meet with 5 graduates. That was a record for the graduation ceremonies, and this is just a photo of us. We had a celebration dinner, and that was really neat in terms of, I think you can see that they were all an asymmetrical height. Some things are just meant to be. It was a lovely way to celebrate the achievement, and a couple of those graduates traveled a really long distance in order to attend the ceremonies in Castlegar, BC. I really love that photo. Okay, so speaking to Marianne's need, her desire to learn more about our business planning program, I'm turning to the Business Abilities program now. So Business Abilities, again, is an online program in entrepreneurship and career planning. Participants explore self-employment and decide whether to move into business planning or the job preparation stage. So it's really important for any potential entrepreneur to first take a really good look inside at themselves, to really consider their resources, to consider other opportunities and whatnot before making a firm decision to become self-employed. because it's a huge commitment and it can be risky as well. So we do take our clients through that first important stage. In the program, clients are involved in researching a business idea, preparing their financials, and producing a business plan. And the program is funded through the Government of Canada Opportunities Fund for Persons with Disabilities. So in this respect, it's different than IBDE because it's at this time eligibility is open to people who self-identify as living with a disability. So there's no fancy or complicated paperwork needed. It's just what people, if they self-identify, then they're eligible to participate in the program. Business Abilities is available free of charge to people, again, who self-identify as living with a disability. And today that's a staggering 15% of our population. The level of disability is increasing in our population. But that doesn't mean that people with disabilities don't have a desire to run a business or to work or anything like that. They're just people like you and me. And as I said, our clients have a lot of motivation, great backgrounds, they're really savvy and whatnot. The intake into the program is on a continuous basis. There's not set dates, a couple times a year or 4 times a year. It's as soon as we get the applications, we're processing them and bringing clients on board, matching them with a business coach as soon as we can. Taking a look at what sort of disorders, what sorts of situations, conditions are being disclosed to us by our clientele. There is a lot of mental health issues. There's so much anxiety in our population as it stands. People with disorders like bipolar disorder and the gamut there. We see anxiety all over here, mental health issues. Another common theme, another common condition people live with is having chronic pain, living in chronic pain. We have a lot of people who have suffered some form of injury. There's back problems. There can be mobility issues. A lot of people have troubles with sitting for long periods of time. They need to stand up and move around. So really, and then you get into sort of the medical conditions, heart conditions, let's say, or there are conditions that people are born with. We see clients all over the map, all sorts of disabilities, and we're not like an organization that only serves a certain type of people with a certain type of disability. It's any disability. So it makes things interesting, and it certainly broadens our knowledge about in the area. Each and every day we learn so much about just sort of the day-to-day living situations of people in our society. Coincidentally, this image here is taken from a study that we did during 2014. We had an actual researcher studying our clientele, our coaching, and our program to get a really good look at what participants have to say about our programs and about themselves. The really interesting thing that came out of that study for me personally was that our clients reported a very high degree of chronic pain. It's almost like our clients, let's say 7 out of 10 are living in chronic pain, but then when asked about how their quality of life is, how much they're enjoying their lives, they reported also a high level of enjoyment of life, a high quality of life. And I just think that really speaks to why the programs are so successful, is because our clients are really motivated, and it's like that pain, that condition isn't going to get the best of them. and they are successful, highly successful, moving through our programs. So how does the Business Abilities program work? We have a program website, and we have business coaches. Each client in the program is assigned their very own business coach to work with one-on-one during their time in the program. And as they work through the modules on the website, clients are completing worksheets, which all in the end, at the end of the program, are formed into writing a business plan. So all the time during the program, all the work amounts to writing a business plan. We also have weekly webinars here in Go to Training. The value of the program, what we heard through that study that we did, the most important thing is the coaches. And what our clients had to say about the coaches was really positive, but that's really the benefit of the program. Also that it's flexible, it's online, and people can work at the material whenever it suits them best. They can work around their children, their other commitments, say medical appointments, or just when it's the best time of day to work online and complete some study materials. Getting constant review and feedback on your ideas, really getting some feedback from really seasoned business coaches. These are real entrepreneurs who have worked in business, probably not only one business, but oftentimes many. They've failed, they've been successful. They can really be an honest resource to get some good feedback and find the best course of action for moving ahead in entrepreneurship. We also provide business mentorship support during the business startup period, and sometimes that's not all that common in a business planning program. So there's really a continuity of service involved. In that study that I was mentioning, what our clients had to say about our coaches, I love this image because you can see what the predominance, what the majority of clients had to say, or what the common themes that came up were. That our coaches are experienced, they're supportive, accepting, understanding. And what I really like is the patience there, that they listen. And if you look out on the fingertips there, you see kind. And I think that that's really nice to have some kindness mixed in with the support. Here's another client who I'd like to introduce to you. Her name is Shirley, and she's from British Columbia. I'm still, again, in touch with Shirley to this day. She completed the Web Essentials program in 2009 and Web Advanced in 2010. Also moved into our Business Abilities program and completed that in 2012. What Shirley had to say was, the program saved my life, literally. I felt hopeless, and now I don't feel that way. I feel like I can control my destiny and do something to change my circumstances. It's a process. When disabled, you lose your self-esteem. I am a much better person now. So just to clear anything up, we always thought that Shirley was a wonderful person, but I guess that's the words that she puts it into. She really seemed to find some inertia, some meaning by participating in the programs, and it's meant an awful lot to her in her life. This is a picture of Shirley at one of the graduation ceremonies, and you can just see she was beaming. She drove over a mountain pass in the snow in April to attend the graduation ceremonies. April, of course, leave it to British Columbia for that to happen. But I had the chance to meet her in person that day, and she was so pleased because she had never been able to attend her high school graduation ceremonies, but could attend this ceremony. So it was a very special accomplishment for Shirley. Here's some more testimonials, and this is really interesting because there was a time when I didn't think of sort of the the other values in our programs, and one of them is to help alleviate poverty. It's to increase people's earning levels. And here from Kalinda, who is in British Columbia, she says, "It has been difficult to come to terms with the changes in my life since the accident that left me with a brain injury 3 years ago. Programming in a quiet room is one of the few options I have now to contribute financially in my home. With this training, I have also been able to participate again in the business my husband and I built over the last 14 years. We are now able to offer web design as an option for our customers." And then Willie from Saskatchewan said, "The program was very detailed and very instructive. The program helped us tremendously, and it will help us make a living. Being a disabled person, I need that because I can't go out to work. This program allowed me to set up a home-based business for me and my wife to work at home." And so at this point, I would like to check in again. I'm wondering if anyone's participated in our programs, have any of your clients, if you happen to work in the career sector, sort of what brings you here. Are there any questions or comments as well? We're here for that purpose today, so please do let us know if there's anything that we can help address for you. And actually, I think at this time, Mary mainly works in the Business Abilities program, and I was wondering, Mary, if you might want to make a few comments. I do see a few comments up here in the chat area as well, which I'll read out. So Brian from actually Winnipeg, as we were discussing, had to say, "I am in the Business Abilities program, and my coach Louise has really helped me out with the entire process of my plan. She has been great." I'll be sure to let Louise know that, Brian, and thank you for the feedback. It's great for us to hear how things are going. Marian's wondering, what kind of business examples can you give? Great question, Marian. I think that's really a gap in my presentation, so great question. And your other question is there any financial support for participants with the Opportunities Fund? And Mary's pasted a link up. There's some success stories on our Make a Change Canada site. Great, and the student showcase as well on the Make a Change Canada site. So, yeah, Marian, the businesses are so diverse. So we will have someone coming in with the idea, let's say, to do something that's totally bootstrapping, totally no cost involved, such as dog walking. So just that one person and their initiative to be in business. Right up to, we have clients who want to do new product development involving patents, trademarks. It's the whole gamut. We also have quite a bulk of clients wanting to come in to get into a helping field. So to help people, other people who need advocacy, need advice, to be a resource. We see that. We see a lot of craft people with physical talents. We have one woman who's doing quilting, and she's a true entrepreneur. She picks up with anything. First she tried making candy pops. That was a business, and for one reason or another it didn't really take off for her. She came back to the program, and now she's doing this quilting. First, the quilting was to be only quilts for triathletes stitching their t-shirts together. Now she's doing everything. She's done toques for our organization, and she's moved into making weighted blankets for our autistic children. True entrepreneur. That's just one example. It's all over the map. We've got a fellow who's a mushroom and fiddlehead harvester in New Brunswick. We've got a guy who carves drums in Nova Scotia. There are lots of web developers. There are people who take both programs. So there are people wanting to become a web developer as well, work in communications. Wow, there's just so much. There's so many. And If you'd like a better idea as well, then we could definitely, and you can always call too and say, hey, I've got these ideas that I've got on my plate here, and you can call and speak with a business coach to get some feedback early on. You don't need to sign up for the program to get some feedback. You can always call and make an inquiry as well. Financial support. Now, specifically under Opportunities Fund, there are no startup grants provided. So just so that you know right off the bat. And also this is a bit new with Opportunities Fund, but clients are to know that they are expected to contribute at least 10% to the cost of their own startup. So that's how that works. That's not to say there isn't support through the funding that we receive. If there is a client who needs a particular certification, let's say to do some testing to get a certification they need, they haven't been able to afford that, then we can help cover that cost off of that examination. There is some support to those who would qualify based on financial need. There can be some extra assistance given in a limited amount. So yeah, definitely there is some support that can be given. If there was some assistive technology needed, then based on a rationale, like a solid rationale, under the Opportunities Fund, that could be provided. So there are levels of support, yes. Connie also shared some of her thoughts, and I'm wondering, Kelsey, are you able just to read that out, because I wasn't able to locate that.
Sure, yeah. So Connie has said, sorry, her mic isn't working. I'm working on the Business Abilities and the IBDE course. I love both of them. It can be challenging, but what I love is that Kelsey and Mary are there to talk to you if you need to. I have been able to meet through Skype or email with many of the students. This has been helpful and a positive experience because you have someone to talk to that also understands what you are going through during the course. It has built up my confidence so much that I have been thinking of another direction with my business. Thank you to Make a Change for offering these courses. I have such a better future outlook.
Well,
so that's
great
awesome feedback.
Yeah. Thanks, Connie, and I'm so pleased that you've seen some different possibilities and thinking about viability and sort of shifting. So that's exciting, and that's what it's all about, right? We don't want to go to a lot of work and then find out that we were stuck on the wrong track. So I think you're sounding like an entrepreneur. If I have to say so myself, that's an entrepreneur. In a nutshell, is always on the outlook for that new niche and then moving right into it. I really admire what you're accomplishing. Thank you. So I wonder at this stage, we are at 12:03, but before we tie up here for the day, Mary, I'm wondering if you have a few final thoughts just based on your experience working in the programs.
Absolutely. Thanks, Anne Maria. I'd be happy to share, as always. I'll try to keep it brief just because I know we're sort of getting to the end point here of the session. So one thing I just wanted to say, looking at a couple of Marion's questions as well as questions I'm sure other people might have if they are considering a business and some type of self-employment, is Anne Marie's given a good indication of the variety of some of the different types of businesses. And I think a really important piece is that because of the types of individuals we see coming into the program, we don't necessarily have to see somebody who has, big scale business ideas. It can be something that is almost more of a hobby-based business, something that you're looking at getting some casual income. It could be something that's more on a full-time level, and anything in between. And I think that's a really fantastic thing because one common theme that I'm sure you're all sort of hearing between some of the testimonials and comments that people are even making here in the session today is that a lot of our clients have been facing at different areas and different levels of adversity for whatever reasons. It could be something that just recently happened in their life. It could be something they've been living with since birth or since they were young. But in essence, that they've had a few knocks, and when they come in to our program, and it could be any programs that they were coming into, there is that common feeling of just not necessarily believing in themselves and what they're capable of doing, or forgetting what they're capable of doing because they've just been consumed with trying to manage what they've been dealing with, that they forget, I've got this education, or I've got this skill, or I've got this talent, or I've got this passion for something. So I think the fantastic thing is, because we don't necessarily have a limit in terms of the size or scope of the business, as long as it's a viable business, people can still come in and sort of rediscover things that they're excited about doing, that they can recognize in themselves that they have the ability to do, and through that, I don't want to say build their confidence, but basically re-embrace who they are and what they're capable of doing. So, whatever's happened, that maybe they've forgotten that, and they're able to see that about themselves again and go, you know what, I can have a better future. I can do something I'm going to enjoy. And, I think the business coaches are fantastic with just keeping things reasonable in terms of the expectations by the work that they're doing with the client on an individual basis. So it's discovering what the client's goals are and what scale that may be. So I think that's a really fantastic thing, and I think it's just such a blessing for us to be able to work with clients, because we see that evolution. We see them coming in and maybe not being so sure in themselves, and and then there's that light that gets sparked again about, I could do this, or maybe they get new ideas. Maybe they come in thinking about one business, and then just through the whole process they discover a new direction, and they're so excited. And I think that's just wonderful for us to see, and that can be in both programs. You could have somebody coming in taking the Web Essentials or Web Advanced courses, and maybe they initially had a thought about where that would lead them, but as they're learning and as they're building their skills and building that confidence in themselves again, they see more opportunities and a brighter future, and I think they just get a little bold and say, hey, why can't I do this? And I think that's just such a special thing. We have just amazing people that we get the opportunity to work with, and it doesn't matter what the array of the things they are that they're dealing with. They're just really fantastic people who just want to contribute and make a difference and improve their own lives. And, and I think we're just very blessed to be able to work with them, and see where we can support them in that part of their journey to do better for themselves. So that's all I had to say in a nutshell.
Thank you, Mary. Yeah, it's very meaningful for us, and we hope it's really meaningful and a growing opportunity for each and every client who comes our way in our programs as well. Thank you for giving us your experience there, Mary, and all your insights. You always have great insights from your end to provide. Okay, so I'm going to move along then to just tying things up for this session for the day. I want to mention that each year we hold a student showcase and website competition. It's a really fantastic event. We have a category for current graduates and prior graduates, so that's kind of neat too, to keep in touch with prior graduates and give them a chance to enter a website in the competition, and we have some pretty good prizes to offer as well. So do watch for our competition next May 2017. It'll be this year's students with the opportunity to get the voting going and get some feedback on their work and build a bit of a following as well. So that happens every year. The other thing that we do is we put together a desktop calendar, and we get about 1,200 of these printed. We distribute them widely. The work inside the calendar is the artwork and photography of clients of both of our programs, and there is a lot of talent. I love this calendar because it helps us uncover all this talent that if you never had the conversation, you wouldn't know. So everybody watches for these calendars every year. I'll go out to my colleagues in the community, and they'll be looking up at me like, Oh, I was hoping I was going to get one. People love these calendars. So if you don't receive one, we try and get one out to every applicant, every client on our list. If you don't receive one, don't be shy. Drop us a note in Facebook, by email, give us a phone call. We're always happy to get a calendar out to you. It's really lovely, really amazing work. The other thing we did last year was we held a live extravaganza. And if it's something that you'd like to view, there's the link there. All you need to type into your browser is bit.ly save the 8th. And that will take you to a live stream recording of that event. It was, what we did was we had hit 10 years and we wanted to celebrate what other people have achieved. We didn't want to celebrate what we have achieved. This is all about our clients, and through this presentation there's interviews with actual clients taking place. There's their stories and testimonials being presented, and our board of directors was there too. So I spoke on stage, which was quite an experience for me. But anyway, if you'd like to view it, there's the recording. We are a national charity, so we involve people in becoming a volunteer. Some of our clients really become attached to our organization and want to spread news about our organization, so you can be a program ambassador, which is a supporter. We have prior clients who will speak to upcoming applicants about where they're moving ahead in their careers, so that applicants can complete some of the paperwork they need to get funding to take the program, the IBDE program, that is. So there's all sorts of ways to get involved. We're always looking for new stories, attend an online session. That's always appreciated. We're active in all the social media, so if you're a social media buff, you know where to find us. And also don't forget, we are a charitable organization. So if at some point in time you're able to donate, or if you have family members who are looking to donate to a cause and you happen to believe in us, don't forget to mention us, because it's through donations that we're able to offer the support that people need in our programs, the full level of support. Before we finish, are there any final questions, thoughts, or comments? What was your biggest takeaway? Is there any final thoughts you'd like to share before we close up for the day? Brian said the program is very progressive. I pinch myself sometimes. It is very clear that you are all passionate about your work. Thank you, Mary. I think you must have really resonated. You felt a resonation with what Mary had to say. Thank you, Brian, for sharing that. Great. Anything else coming on? Any final thoughts? So we'll run another program information session again in about 3 months' time. We do this quarterly. If you'd like a copy of today's recording, don't hesitate to email webinars@Make-A-Change-Canada. And Tricia, you say thank you all for a very informative session. Okay, great. You're really welcome. Thanks for attending. Thanks very much. Okay, great. So I think at that point we'll call it a session. Again, thank you so much for attending today. We look forward to seeing you in future sessions. And for the people who were just being introduced to today, we hope to see you in our program someday. Reach out if you have any questions at all. We're always happy to hear from you. Reach out by telephone, email, anything at all, and see how we can help to steer you in the right direction and get you a little bit of feedback and assistance. Thank you all, and have a great day.